תנצל נפשי ורוחי ונשמתי ותפילתי מן החיצוני תנצל נפשי ורוחי ונשמתי.
There are so many Gedolei Israel, big rabbis and tzadikim too. They guide us our whole life through. We can follow their example and learn from their midos and masim toivim too. I can't wait to hear stories about their yiras shamayim and their love of learning Torah with you. So boys and girls, v'hayu einecha ro'os et morecha means you must open your eyes and look at the tzaddik's face while you listen to the story that took place. Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach was a big tzaddik and a big Talmid Chochem. Let's hear about the special gadol. Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach was born in Yerushalayim in Eretz Israel, in a place called Sharei Chesed. He lived there his whole life. His parents were Reb Chaim Yehuda Leib and Tzavia. Reb Chaim Yehuda Leib was also a very big tzaddik. When little Shlomo Zalman was a little boy, his family was very, very poor. His mother, Tzavia, had to take an egg and share it among her 3 children and her husband. That's how poor they were. His father, Reb Chaim Yehuda Leib, asked some people to lend him money so that he could buy food for his family. When the people who lent Reb Chaim Yehuda Leib money came knocking at his door, asking for their money back, he didn't have any money to pay them back. So Tzavia would give her jewelry instead of the money they owed. And the next time the people who Reb Chaim Yehuda Leib borrowed money from came knocking at the door, asking for money, they didn't have any money to give them. So Tzavia gave some of her dishes instead of the money. One day, boys and girls, these people came knocking at the door again, asking for their money. But again, there was no money. The only thing that was left at home was Sforim, were the books that Reb Chaim Yehuda Leib used to teach his sons Torah from. Tzavia started davening and she started crying. She said, "Please, Hashem, I don't want to give these Sforim to the people I owe money to. I need my husband, Chaim Yehuda Leib, to carry on teaching our sons Torah." When little Shlomo Zalman saw his mommy davening to Hashem and crying, he felt how important learning Torah was, and he made a promise that he was going to learn lots of Torah and make his mom very, very proud. And that's what he did. When Shlomo Zalman was a little boy, he went to a Talmud Torah called Eitz Chaim, just like we go to Maharsha Nursery School. At Eitz Chaim Yeshiva, Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach learned lots of Torah. He learned Torah from great rabbis like Reb Issa Zalman Meltzer and Rav Shimshon Aaron Polensky. They were his Rabbonim. When Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach was just a young man, at 24 years old, he already published his first sefer called Me'orei Eish. Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach married Chaya Rivka Ruchamkin, who was a big tzaddikus, and she helped him become the big Talmid Chochem that he was. They had 7 sons and 3 daughters. Some of their sons also grew up to be big Rabbonim, like Reb Shmuel, Reb Avram Dov, Reb Azriel, Reb Mordechai. Reb Shlomo Zalman and his Rebbetzin Chaya Rivka lived in a small house with their children. Guests were always welcome in their home. Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach was the Rosh Yeshiva of a yeshiva called Kol Torah. He was the Rosh Yeshiva for 46 years. In his life, Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach wrote many books of halacha. He was a posek, which means that he knew exactly what the halacha was. Rav Shlomo Zalman paskened a lot of shailas, that means questions, that came up more recently in our generation. He even gave some halachas regarding soldiers in the army. Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach was a great Talmid Chochem, and he learned Torah with many big Rabbonim. But he was also known for his kind smile. He always welcomed people besever panim yafois, which means with a big smile. Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach was very tznius and humble. He was a friendly rabbi who always welcomed everybody into his home. He had patience to listen to people's problems, whether they were young or old. For many years, the local grocery store in Rav Shlomo Zalman's neighborhood was run by an almana, which means she didn't have a husband. Delivery vans would pull up at dawn, and the truckers would leave crates of milk and dairy products on the sidewalk. Later, the almana would drag them inside when she opened her shop. That was very heavy for her. One day, to her delight, she saw that the crates had been placed at the front entrance of her shop, easing her workload. This happened again the following morning and continued day after day. One morning, the shop owner felt that she wanted to thank the drivers, so she made a point of arriving at the store very early. But, to her amazement, when the vans appeared, the men left the delivery on the edge of the sidewalk, as they had always done in the past. She stood there and she couldn't understand who had been carrying the heavy crates up the stairs to the front of her shop. Then she saw Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. His tallis bag was under his arm. One by one, Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach lifted the heavy crates and put them in front of the grocery store. He wanted to help this woman so that she wouldn't have to carry the heavy loads. What a big chesed. Then Reb Shlomo Zalman hurried off to shul for Shachris. Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach taught many Talmidim Torah, and we are so lucky to have had such a big rabbi in our generation.